So first things first, every morning I'm supposed to check my blood sugar before I eat. That involves using a blood sugar meter. These cost about $100. This particular model, the Contour Next, I sold one on eBay for more than $100. These vials of test strips that specifically go to the Contour Next, again, these are one of the more expensive brands. Thank God my insurance is covering it right now. Without insurance, these cost anywhere from $25 to $50 per vial, which has about 50 to 100 strips in it. And you're supposed to be checking yourself at least 5 times a day. So that's going to last you about 10 days. The Lancet device to prick your finger with, these boxes of Lancets here, each one costs they vary a lot, but typically I'd say between $15 and $25 without insurance. Most of these supplies here, most insurance companies do cover those. So I've been checking my blood sugar like this for 20 years. All 20 years I've had diabetes. I've gone through a bunch of different types of meters and a bunch of different types of Lancet devices. They're all pretty much the same. And you know, the test strips that we use, you can only use them one time. See, look at that. My fingers aren't even bleeding because I've been pricking them so often over the years that they developed a very strong, thick callus, kind of like you play guitar for a lot. And so we need to check our blood sugar like this because the blood sample has a concentration of sugar in it, and the meter can tell you how much that sugar is. So right now I'm 139. Well, it's backwards on the camera, but that's a really good number to be starting off with. A lot of times it's not uncommon for my blood sugar to be high. So what this means is I take my blood sugar 139 and I factor in how many carbs I'm eating. This morning I'm gonna have a bowl of lentil soup. That's about 40 carbs. So I need to take my number here, 139, subtract 120, which is the target number, divide that by 40, which is my correction factor based on my insulin sensitivity, and then I also need to calculate the carbs. So conveniently, the newer insulin pump models do these calculations for you. I used to have to do these calculations ever since I was a kid, and I do them a lot faster in my head, but it's not always that accurate, so I do like to put it into the pump. So I'm gonna dial up here the 40 carbs that I'm about to take right here. And this is easy because I had a label to tell me how many carbs is in the soup right here. So I'm gonna bolus 5.7 units of insulin. That's gonna hit me within about an hour or two. And hopefully, the insulin's gonna hit me around the same time that the food does, so that I don't experience any kind of spiking or just rapid fluctuation of the blood sugar. So why do I have to take insulin before I eat? The reason is because even though this is the fastest type of insulin that there is, it still takes anywhere from 30 minutes to about 3 hours for all of the insulin to take effect. So the food raises your blood sugar in about 20 minutes. And your blood sugar is rising like this, the insulin needs time to catch up to it. So you want to kind of have the meat at the same time so that your blood sugar doesn't get too high. You know what I'm saying? So like if your blood sugar goes too high, what happens is your body isn't getting energy. And so what it does is it starts to produce ketones, which enable it to use fat cells for energy. But if it uses so many ketones in the bloodstream starts to get acidic. And that's why people can get sick, go into a diabetic coma, and eventually die. And of course, on the other hand, if I took too much insulin too soon before eating, that causes the blood sugar to go very low. What happens when the blood sugar goes low? Your body doesn't have energy, it doesn't know what's going on, it starts shutting down its essential organs. You know, it doesn't go with like the most essential organs first, but eventually it could get to that point where your heart shuts down because there's no energy if you are passed out long enough with a low blood sugar, so you could die from that too. But thankfully, because of insulin and because we have all these calculations at our disposal, we can mitigate those chances of dying. That's what monitoring your blood sugar is. It's actually making sure that you don't die. It's not just, I want to watch my weight or something like that. It's literally life and death. If you don't know how to do this the right way, you will not manage your diabetes correctly. And, if your sugar's all over the place, you can develop some sort of health complications. You could die in the short term, but in the long term, if your blood sugars are consistently running high, all that acid in the bloodstream, all that sugar that's floating around can attract bacteria and make infections worse. It can corrode the essential organs, usually the feet, the eyes, all the nerve endings in there. That's why diabetes can lead to blindness, heart disease, liver failure, kidney failure, and all sorts of complications that I really, really hope I don't have to worry about, at least until after I'm 40.